There's a guided reflection time, 30-minute reflection times, and there's small group discussions. Each session, we've got 4 sessions. I've talked about the topic for 3 of them. Father's love, discipleship, stewardship, and the last thing we talk about is leadership. But it's an extension of the stewardship talk. But the goal of the whole retreat is, one, to get people to go aside in a prayerful environment, and in the middle of that, talk about stewardship. And most people in our parishes, even parishes that have been into stewardship for quite a while, when you bring up the word stewardship, you know what they think. They think it's all about money, and it's not about money. And the reason they do, they either have seen a poor application of it, or they hear about a parish like St. Francis of Assisi or a number of other parishes around the country that raise tremendous amounts of financial resources, so they conclude wrongly that it's about money and raising money, like it's the latest gimmick. I mean, there used to be bingo, and it was this, now we got stewardship. So no, guys, this is all about helping your people grow in faith. And the more successful that you are at doing the basic mission of the parish, helping make disciples, then these other things will flow. If you're successful at helping people grow what it means to be a disciple, and the time, talent, and treasure thing, the key thing here is been talked about today is time and talent. Time primarily deals with things like your prayer time. The more you can get people to church praying, the more you can get them praying with the family at home, it's going to enrich their prayer life. They're going to grow in their understanding what it means to be a disciple. The more you get them involved in what's going on in the parish, in a ministry, or organization, whatever happening, wherever God is leading them, the more they begin to take ownership of the parish, and their money naturally follows. It's not the reverse. So, that's what the retreat is. They go over very well. It's pretty simple, nothing complicated in the topics, and you get people spending some time reflecting. Those of us that are priests and deacons, I'm sure the bishop we have here, any religious are here, we're required to take annual retreats. Well, that's something all the leaders in the parish should be doing, is taking retreats. How can we listen to God if we don't find a way to go aside and kind of get geared down and listen? That's the purpose of the retreat. And so this particular retreat, what we tried to do is facilitate that happening. And we have a couple more that we build on this. Like year 2, we have a retreat that centers around the Vatican II document of the Apostle of the Laity and Christe Fidelis, trying to help people get in touch with what's my responsibility as a Catholic, and what has God called me to? And if you have never read that document from the Vatican Council, I think when you read it, it's very inspiring for a layperson, what you're really called to do. It's pretty awesome. Basically, you're called to go forth and renew the face of the earth. And every person that's in here is a layperson. Even though I'm a deacon and we've got priests and a bishop here, you're called just as much as anyone else to build the church. To build the church, 100% of your effort is supposed to be in building the church. How you live that out, and the church is not this optional thing. It wasn't like this little group of guys got together we call apostles and decided, maybe we ought to have a club. The church is necessary not only for us that are Catholics, not only for all of Christendom. The church is necessary for the world. So when we build the church, we're doing something very important for the whole world. It's the voice of God, as clear as it is spoken, to the whole world. So if we aren't the vehicles of allowing that to happen, who is? Not that it's the only place that God is speaking, but who is? The church is critical for the world, not only for us. The retreats, going aside once a year, and even more often as you can, but encourage that. A couple other things that you can do to help your leaders kind of grow in faith is help them get formed in what it means to be a Catholic, what the church teaches. We've got lots of people in our parishes that have PhDs in all kinds of areas, or master's degrees, or bachelor's degrees. And a lot of them have like a second or third grade Catholic education, or that's the level that they understand. And those of us that are of my age, we know, like I am pre-Vatican II kind of a Catholic. I graduated from high school in 61. I'm 61 years old. Isn't that interesting? So when I grew up, the church was a little bit different. And there was a lot of teaching of the catechism. When I grew up, we knew what the faith was. We knew what the church taught. In fact, interesting, My wife come from Joliet, Illinois. I originally went to grade school in Western Pennsylvania. But our faith life was the same. The most common thing we've had since we get married, other than the 9 kids, is our faith life. And yet, following the Second Vatican Council, and many of us know this is true, we went into some other mode. There was a lot of confusion going on in the church. And a lot of people grew up with Jesus loves me, you know, and how to get in touch with my friends and how to get in touch with Jesus. But a lot of times there wasn't a lot of teaching. And what does the church teach? Like it was this optional thing what the church teaches. The church is the voice of God as best we can hear it today in the world. How can we help our leaders understand more what it means to be a Catholic? What does the church teach? You know, it's critical. But if we're going to grow leaders, we need to try to figure out some ways to make that happen, to help them grow in the faith. Another thing that can be very helpful is for the pastor to share with the leaders what his vision is for the parish. Now, some of the pastors that are here would probably say, well, I don't know if I have a vision. If you don't have a vision, you need to get one. Like, what's God call? God will give you a vision, whatever that is, and maybe you won't see a whole lot of it. But what are the steps we're going to take? What can stewardship, the implementation of stewardship, or if you've already been implementing it to take it to the next level, what can it do in the life of the parish? You know, and to share this with the people, the leaders. You need them on board to make it go. Sometimes we're asked, you know, we work with a bunch of parishes around the country. It's like, what are the key ingredients? And I think it was Father John or Bishop Gerber said earlier, the number one ingredient is the pastor. If he's not on board and on board for the right reasons and understands stewardship in the right way, if he's just trying to balance the budget, and we run into a lot of that, and if I could just get another $50,000 to get the budget balanced, I'll be fine. I think we need stewardship. Well, he's in the wrong boat. But if he's on board for the right reasons, you got the biggest piece in place. The next thing is the leaders. I don't mean they're all on board, but they can see that this is the right way to go. And they're willing to kind of get involved. They're willing to grow in faith themselves. Then you got the 2 most important elements. In fact, what I like to tell parishes when we talk to them is, if you don't have these things going, you don't need us. We can't come in and, you know, put together some fancy material and stuff like that, and it's going to go anywhere. But if you have these things in place, we can probably help you leverage the whole process. So those are the key elements. If the pastor isn't on board and you're hoping to go home and really get stewardship cooking in your parish, it isn't going to work. So the first question got to be, how can we get our pastor on board? My suggestion would be you get them to come to a conference like this, where you can listen to some other people. You get them connected with someone else, but you got to get him on board if he's not on board. But the pastor sharing his vision with the leaders will help them see what their role is, and they'll also keep motivating him at the same time.